All righty. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report, along with our good friend and south of the border, Ross Benjamin. How south of the border are you, Ross?
Not very south. I'm like 60 miles, 70 miles from the Canadian border,
Yeah, so
Rochester, New York, you know.
yeah, you're almost
So
close to Ottawa.
about an hour and a half from Niagara Falls. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's weird when you said south of the border. It's like I've never heard it referred to that, but
yeah, because you're up
I
in
guess south of the border, considering when I'm working with my buddy from Canada.
yeah. Hey, it just dawned on me. This is an international show right here.
Yeah,
Hey, right
yeah.
on. So,
So tough day for me yesterday, Ron. My 7-day win streak came to an end. We're transparent. I tell it the way it is. When I win, I beat on my chest. When I lose, I fess up. Uh, just a bad day yesterday. I had the Canadians in Montreal or Pittsburgh game under the total that lost, and I was way off on the Orlando-Toronto game over the total in the NBA. So anyway, 16-7 over the last 8 days with my paid selections. I'll take that.
yeah, and you know what, Ross? This quote has been beaten up to death. It's not a sprint; it's a marathon, right?
Oh yeah.
And the
Unless
thing,
it's the Major League Baseball schedule.
yeah. Oh my God, somebody got a hit. Like I'm looking at the scores from last night. I was running through and every game was under, and I was like, man, I think I got a shot here to bring my Roy Haas bat here and start swinging.
No kidding. No
Man,
kidding.
but,
You had a nice pick on the under on Milwaukee and the White Sox, 1-0 final. It doesn't get
yeah.
better than that.
No, you know what? Again, pretty decent day yesterday. 2-1 in baseball, 1-1 in NBA. The game I had, the loss was San Antonio, which they were there.
Yeah, they were right there. It was a tie game going into the final quarter, if I recall.
Yeah. They just got in some foul troubles there in the last 2 minutes, and then I had OKC. You know, the old faithful OKC, right?
Yeah, just keep taking them as an underdog, Ron. Unbelievable. That's 23-8 this year as a dog. That's incredible, right? You know.
And NHL 1-1 had the Tampa Bay Lightning and had the Edmonton Oilers. Really, got to give credit to the Chicago Blackhawks. Jonathan Toews right now is finding his old playoff, his Roy Hobbs hockey sticks or his Wayne Gretzky hockey sticks. They're his old Titans. I don't know if you remember the old Titan hockey stick, the white Titans.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Jonathan Toews has stepped up his game. And we got to keep remembering, and I was thinking about this last night, this COVID break is almost the start of a new season. These players have had 4 months training camp.
Yeah. These old veterans, it's really helped, right?
Help Marc Gasol. He looks like a frigging 22-year-old out there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that Chicago Blackhawks team, and you still, like we alluded to on many occasions over the last couple days, this is a team that's got a veteran core that's been there and done that, right, Ron? I mean, I was almost to the point where I'm saying, why are they hanging on to these guys so long when they could start developing some young assets? But you know what? The 4 months off has really helped their old legs. Patrick Kane is still a terrific player. Jonathan Toews, as you said. Duncan Keith. I mean, it's a solid team. They're going to be a tough out. I still think Edmonton. I think Edmonton will come back and win the series personally, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, and you know what, Ross? Major League Baseball last night. Watched a bit of that LA Dodger game. Man, these Dodgers, they're a really good baseball team. I've been saying it. It's no, you don't need to be Einstein to know that the Dodgers are a good baseball team. But it was, when you have a total in the game and you're going in the 5th inning and it's only like 1-0, 2-0, you're like, man, what was I thinking? Then all of a sudden you go to grab a bite to eat and you come back, it's 5-2. It's like, okay, I like those days.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at them on paper, Ron, I mean, you can make a case they're stronger than the Yankees because they have a better starting rotation. Their bullpen is equally as good, if not better. And, I mean, the Yankees might have a slight edge and very slight when it comes to hitting or bench depth. But, the Dodgers are tough.
Yeah, no, they are tough. And, Ross, speaking of making money, let's take a look at before we get going, folks, don't forget each and every day you can get our premium picks right here at atsstats.com or where Ross also hangs his hat as his website, rbwins.com. But you can get the same picks here. And right now, if you use promo code ATS20, capital letter ATS20, you get 20% off membership plan here at atsstats.com. If you've missed a previous podcast, you can always get it here on our website or anywhere you download your favorite podcast. Now, each and every day, Ross, we, just like CNBC and the stock market, we're going to look at our stock market, which is the sports betting index, to see what has come in the day before in Major League Baseball. And through our website, all you got to do is go to the dashboard, go to SBI, and it's going to take you to the next page where we monitor the current market conditions. We're going to go to MLB. And, the favorites finally met their day yesterday. Finally, an underdog day. Broke a 9-game or 8-game winning streak. I think it was 7 or
8
days. Yeah. 7-9 for the Dogs yesterday, 6-10 to the under. The under right now is on a little run, but Ross, looking at the 3-day average right now, 69% of the favorites have come in, and we've been talking yesterday.
Can you
saying,
put that up for me, Ron, if you don't mind?
Oh yeah, you know what? Did it again.
It's okay.
Yeah. All right, here.
Just so I know what you're referring to.
It's right here. Perfect. All right. So as we talked about yesterday, we said, start taking those underdogs because eventually they're going to start coming in. And sure enough, Ross, they came in yesterday at 56%. And on the 3-day average at 69%, we all know what goes up must come down. And the favorites are coming down just a bit.
Yeah, it's like we said yesterday, it'll level off eventually. And again, people got to realize you don't have to hit that high percentage with underdogs to make money either. So 56% on the day is, if you did the math on the underdogs that won against their losses in money wise, you made a lot of money yesterday if you took every underdog.
Yeah. And looking at the over-unders here, Ross, we are in a bear market. Wow, you don't see that very often in over-under, but hey, when I just said it at the top of the show, everything's coming under these days. Like it's just eventually the bookmakers are going to have to adjust their numbers, and I'm going to keep an eye out on that for the next couple of days to see, get a gauge off Coors Field, see if those numbers are coming down at Coors, hitting parks, right? And take a look at the over-unders. Like I'm seeing a lot of 7s on teams that I shouldn't see 7s, like Baltimore.
But you got to realize that Baltimore-Miami game yesterday, Ron, that was part of a doubleheader in a 7-inning game.
Yeah, Cleveland.
So that's the other thing the viewers have to really be something they're not used to. Doubleheaders, Ron, this year are 7 innings apiece. And those totals are going to come down. So
yeah, good point. Great point. Cleveland, Cincinnati today, 7.5 for Carrasco, Castillo. So, you know what? I've been betting the over and, got beaten a few times, but I was able to cash in the over yesterday with the Dodgers. And that's one thing I'm going to look at. If I'm going to take the over, I'm going to make sure in the 3-game average that, from a runs for and runs against on both teams, there's a certain number that I circle on my spreadsheets that they have to meet that requirement indicator. If not, I just pass. And it's something I'll show you guys eventually once some of the tips that we do here at ATS on finding indicators before making a selection on a play. MLB, let's go right to we got a 1:30 game here today, Ross. We got a few.
Minnesota and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So the Twins taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now Minnesota minus 210 chalk here. Over under set 8.5. The Bucks are really struggling here. 2-10 on the year, 10-2 for Minnesota. Kenta Maeda going for the Twins and up against JT Brubaker. Now the computer pick all over the Twins, and you don't need to be Einstein to take this one here. 6.34, 2.59. The over under 8.93. 8% chance of covering, however, for the Twins compared to 92%. According to the Raymond report, law of average theory, it's a percentage play. And like we always say, Ross, shop for value, play those percentages, but be careful of those percentages when that price is minus 210.
Yeah, I would almost lean toward a run play here if indeed I was going to use the run line play, if indeed I was going to use this game, because I'm not going to lay 220. But, Minnesota's 6-0 their last 6, 9-1 their last 10. Pittsburgh's lost 7 in a row. Kent Maeda, 2-0 so far this year as far as team starts with a 1.64 ERA and an 0.63 WHIP. I mean, how about Minnesota? 35-12 is a road favorite of -110 or greater since last year. Everything points toward Minnesota. But again, that old adage of if it looks too good to be true, it normally is in sports betting.
Yeah. And going back to 1996, when the Twins are a 200 to 220 road favorite coming off a win, perfect 10-0. So could be a good play here on the run line if you like the Twinkies. San Francisco taking on the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies sending Kyle Freeland to the mound today up against Tyler Anderson of the Giants. Coming off a 4-3 win last night, Ross, with the against the Rockies, snapped the Rockies win streak. But the last 3 games for both teams have gone under the total. The Kogo, however, is at 82%. Eventually, these games at Coors have got to go over the total. The ATS forecast leaning with Colorado here, 5.65, 5.4, over under 11.05. So it likes it a hair under the total. Eventually, I think the over is going to have to come in here. Maybe a day game is what the hitters need here at Coors.
Yeah, something, because we're used to seeing a lot higher scores at Coors Field. Anyway, Ron, a couple contrasting notes here. Kyle Freeland, very good in his first 2 starts. The Rockies went 2-0 in those starts. A lot had to do with Freeland's 1.50 ERA and 0.83 WHIP in those 2 outings. Kyle Freeland, how about this, Ron? 30-11 under the total in his 41 career starts at Coors Field. So talk about a pitcher who's mastered the art of pitching at Coors Field. He's one of the very few. And, we talk about underdogs all the time, Ron, and how you don't need to hit that higher percentage to make money. Since last year, this is a San Francisco team that's 38-39 as a road underdog of 100+. Okay,
oh, wow.
Now if the average guy would say 38-39, I have to listen to this show for him to tell me that. Well, the bottom line is the 38 wins have come at an average money line price of +156.
Wow.
So if you were to play $100 or risk $100 on San Francisco every time they were a road underdog of +100 or greater since the start of last year, Ron, you're up over $2,000. Holy
crap. That's pretty good. And, there's certain teams that I always pegged as good dog teams. Giants obviously fall into that category. But yeah, those are impressive stats. And
especially if you think, Ron, their record. I mean, what are they, 5-7 this year? They had a losing record last year. So, that would sort of surprise me when I dug that up.
Yeah, I think they're 6-7.
6-7. Okay. Yeah, because they won yesterday. That's correct.
And then you know what? You got a Rockies team that's 8-3. Hey, maybe it's a good spot here for the Giants. And looking at some of the totals here, Ross, road teams this year coming off a road underdog win, 6-17-1 to the under. Wow. And road teams that are facing opponents that have a 71 to 8% win percentage, 5-16-0 to the under. So as much as I love to play the over, those kind of numbers.
Freeland with his record, his under record at Coors Field. So
yeah. If you like the over, maybe that one we talked you in or out of that one. Texas taking on exactly right. Texas taking on the Oakland Athletics. Now the A is a -153 price, over under set at 8. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Man, there must be a love fest here with Texas. 4.61, 3.03. The over under is 7.64. 68% chance of winning, but Texas not lucky. Like they're in the games. They're just getting outclassed in the late innings, and the bullpen's really collapsing on them. And another loss last night for the Rangers. But they're sending Mike Miners. The bad news is you're facing Mike Fiers of the A's and Ross. First pitch, 3:40 Eastern.
Yeah, Mike Fiers since 2018, 6-0 in his team starts against Texas with a 3.00 ERA. Mike Minor versus Oakland since last year, 0-3 in his team starts with a 9.56 ERA. And Minor right now in his first 2 starts of the year, the Rangers are 0-2, and his 5.90 ERA has a lot to do with that. Oakland's bullpen, very good. And as Ron touched upon, Texas's bullpen is absolutely brutal. They blew another one yesterday.
Going to the next game here, Ross, we got the Papa Trout. That's my new favorite name now.
4 RBIs yesterday, Papa.
That'd be a great, in horse racing, that'd be a good name for a horse, right? don't know. It's up there with Tickle Bunny, but Papa Trout's not bad.
Either that or he's your fishing buddy, you know?
Yeah, fishing by Abe at the Bass Fishing Store, right?
Yeah.
155 is the price today, Ross, on the Angels, and over under set 8.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Gonna lean with the home team here, Seattle Mariners, 4.4 to 4.16. Over under set at 8.56. So it does like this total here, a hair over the total. Now looking at the Kogos at 33%. And that's because looking at the over-under records for both teams, again, these teams, surprisingly enough, 16-8 to the over and 16-8-1 combined. And that's why the percentage play is the under here today. Dylan Bundy against Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, you know, I had Seattle yesterday as an underdog, Ron. I'm one of my free picks, and they won, but it wasn't without any kind of nervousness. As they almost blew a 7-3 lead, and that takes me back to their bullpen. I mean, their bullpen right now is 6.35 ERA, not very good. The Angels are starting to wake up with the bats, 6.1 runs per game over their last 7. And also Dylan Bundy, a surprise here early on. And also he 1-1 career versus Seattle, 3 career versus Seattle, and a 2.84 ERA and an 0.71 WHIP. So Bundy's pitched very well in his career against the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, if I'm the manager of the Angels, I'm saying, all right, I want you all to have babies next year and come back hitting.
Exactly.
New York Yankees taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Now the Phillies a home underdog here in the spot against the Bronx Bombers. The bookmakers have made New York a minus 146 road favorite. Over and under set at 10. ATS forecast. The computer pick all over the Phillies here, Ross. 4.17 to 4.04. Again, the over-under at 8.21. So it does like it to go under the total. Jordan Montgomery getting the nod here today, taking on Zach Eflin for the Phillies. Now looking at both teams, 9-2, but you know Philly had that COVID situation. Well, they didn't have it, but they were affected by it. Looking at the price of this game here, Ross, minus 146, and the total's at 10. There's a 53% chance of this game going over the total. There's enough firepower on both teams to get that total up to 10 today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the Yankees by themselves might come close to that. But Zach Eflin, talk about being affected by COVID-19 because of Philadelphia's reduced schedule and the time they had off due to that. This will be his first start of the season, believe it or not. And Jordan Montgomery, who was scheduled to start yesterday, and the Yankees decided in Game 2 to go use their bullpen by committee, he's off a good start in his first outing, Ron. So, you know, this is a game I'm going to stay away from. A little bit of uncertainty, especially when you see the Yankees at just minus 146 at home. Believe it or not, that's pretty low for them, right, Ron, at Yankee Stadium?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what, Ross? I don't know about you, but if I go back in my history on betting New York Yankees, it's very, very low. I'm always, I'm talked off the price. Like I love the Yankees, but I don't love their prices.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're, you follow them on the run line, but their prices are never enticing. You might catch a nice price on the road, but very seldom at home.
Yeah, it's like buying a Hugo Boss suit. You got to wait for it to come on sale, type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cincinnati Reds taking on the Cleveland Indians. Now the Tribe here, a 116 price. The over-under set at 7.5. We talked about that at the prior top of the show. Pretty low total for both these teams here when you compare from the past. But you know what? The Cleveland Indians, they're not hitting at all. Look at the over-under record on them. 2-11 on the year. Carlos Carrasco getting the nod here today up against Luis Castillo. And when he starts, they're 0-2 for the Reds, but the over 2-0 when Castillo starts this year. That's a pitcher we talked about earlier in the year, saying that, promising young pitcher, but, not starting fast out of the gate.
Well, you mentioned Cleveland. They've now gone under the total in 10 straight games, Ron. They can't hit their way out of a paper bag like you touched upon. Cincinnati, not much better, Ron. The only difference is Cincinnati's hit 16 home runs this year, but they're totally reliant at this point on the home run because their team batting average somewhere around 206 on the season, which isn't very good. That Cleveland bullpen, Ron, has been absolutely phenomenal. A 147 ERA as a staff coupled with a 078 whip. That's just terrific. And just a note on Carlos Carrasco. He's 5-18 in his career, Ron, when he's money line between plus 125 and minus 125, which he is today. And last year he went 0-6 and his team starts at night.
Yeah, and if you do like Cleveland, they're 4-1 as a home favorite this year. Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Atlanta Braves. Now, the Braves, a minus 115 price. The over-under set at 9. ATS forecast, computer pick. Sees a tight one here. 4.82 for the Blue Jays, 4.54 for Atlanta. Over-under at 9.36. The young phenom for the Blue Jays, this guy can tag it close to 100 miles an hour with his fastball. Nate Pearson. He's taking on Toussaint of the Atlanta Braves. And Toronto, coming off a 2-1 win yesterday. Hyun-Jin Ryu gave him a quality start. And looking at today's price, Ross, minus 115. The Raymond report had it at minus 112, so we're in the ballpark for both teams. 44% chance of this game going over the total. You got a bullish team in the Atlanta Braves who are 8-5 on the season, and against a 4-5 team for the Blue Jays who need this win to get back to 500.
Yeah, both pitchers young. Both pitchers, their debut in 2020. This will each be their second start this year, their debuts, and neither allowed an earned run, Ron. So that's encouraging for both teams. And Atlanta 3-1 off a loss this year.
Wow, 3-1. Yeah, you know what? Atlanta has shown a bit of inconsistency of trying to put on back-to-back quality games together. It's not like Houston, LA, or the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Like they're almost there, but they're like the Mets. Like the Mets and Braves are almost identical in their consistency. Houston taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is more like a football score. This was like the Cardinals against the Texans here yesterday. 14-7 winner for Arizona. Surprising score, to be honest, when you see 14 put against the Astros team. Minus 139 is the price here today, Ross. The over-under set at 9.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Leaning with Houston here, 5.5, 4.55. The over at 10.1. The last three games for Houston have gotten over the total, and 6-5 on the year. Does that record surprise you a bit?
Yeah, it does. It does when you consider their pitching and their hitting combined. I think it's a matter of time before they go on a run. Yesterday's score certainly surprised me, considering Arizona hadn't shown any propensity to have any offensive firepower. Yesterday they woke up. I really like this Zach Gallen, Ron. I think I mentioned this the last time he pitched. Arizona's won 4 games this year. I believe they're 4-8, and 2 of those wins were with Gallen on the hill. And in those 2 starts, he's posted a 2.70 ERA and struck out 15 in 10 innings pitched. Houston, like Atlanta, 3-1 after a loss this year. So, and that Arizona win snapped a 3-game losing streak for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and when Houston's on the road facing a C-type, bearish-type team, which Arizona is, and if you're new to the Rain Report, C here in the performance cycle means they're a below 500 team, and the bear cycle means they're either 2-5, 1-6, or 0-7 in their last 7. The over for Houston, 4-0-1 today, so I know it goes against the Kogo at 31%, and that's going to happen sometimes with the Rain Report, Ross. As much as we want to do a perfect checker, and eat all up the chips here. Sometimes when we look for indicators, you're going to get a conflict of numbers.
Yeah.
But looking at the numbers here today, 10.1 is the over-under. And normally after a big run like this, it goes into like the slaughter theory of baseball a bit. But, I normally tend to go the opposite way when I see a big lopsided score like that the next game.
That does hold a lot of credence. I looked that up. It's absolutely, you're talking about a 58% play. But the other part of the equation there, Ron, is this Brandon Bielak. I believe it's his first Major League Baseball start, and I hate using games when I don't have some kind of sample size or inkling of what a pitcher will do. I mean, you could look at his minor league stats, but yeah, we both know that doesn't hold water when you get to Major League Baseball.
No, and you know what? If you're going to look at it that way too, here's the good news. The bookmakers are on the same equal footing as you.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Neutral field.
So that's the fair market value that I look for always. Chicago Cubs taking on the Kansas City Royals. Now looking at this game, the Cubs, hey man, don't look now. The Cubs are 10-2, minus 192 price. The over/under here set at 9. ATS forecast and computer pick leaning with Chicago 4.06. 4.04, the over-under at 8.1. But Ross, 10-2. But I mentioned this yesterday. They're playing in a division where they're owning everybody, and it's not a very strong division right now. when you look at the National League, let me see here, National League Central, 10-2, Milwaukee 4-5, St. Louis 2-3, 5-7, 2-10 for the Bucks. They should be 10-2.
Yeah,
you know?
and they played the last 3 games against Kansas City, who's currently 3-10.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
your case in point.
Yeah.
6-game winning streak for the Cubs, 6-game losing streak for the Royals. Tyler Chatwood has been absolutely phenomenal in his first 2 starts of the year. Cubs went 2-0 in those games, 0.71 ERA, and he struck out 19 and 12 and 2/3 innings. Hard to fade the Cubs against this hapless Royals team. Again, folks, if you're going to look at this game, I would look at the run line and not lay that big number.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's other games on the board, and that's the good news about baseball. There's a lot of games to pick from. Baltimore taking on the Miami Marlins. Now the Marlins a -128 favorite. Over under set 8.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick here. Going to lean with the Marlins here. 4.85, 4.41. Over under at 9.26. Looking at this Baltimore Orioles team. You know what, Ross? A little disappointed in the O's here because coming off a sweep over Tampa Bay at home on the weekend and pooping the bed here against the Marlins on the road, who are on a 4-game win streak. 5-6 on the season for Baltimore, 5-1 for the Marlins, and looking at the chance of winning, 77% for Baltimore, who are sending Wade LeBlanc to the mound here today against Jordan Yamamoto. I thought I mentioned that name yesterday, unless something changed.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you know what? Looking at this game, Ross, you got to think that Baltimore is going to try to steal one here.
Yeah, you mentioned the O's on the road at Miami, but just so the listeners understand that the game's actually being played at Camden Yards, and Miami is the home team there, meaning they get the last at bat. They were that yesterday as well, so not to get confused with a true road game, other than the last at bat. And Miami, how about 5-1, Ron? Huh? Who would have figured? And then 3-0 coming off this COVID-19 thing, where they had 18 players test positive. Their bullpen has been very good, and their schedule, they played the Phillies in the first 3, and then they followed it up with Baltimore. So the sample size is still small. I think they're going to come back to reality quicker than people would think.
Yeah, no, and Philly team too, they've been affected. So, give it a few, like you said, a few more starts against some quality teams. We'll see where the chips fall, where they may later on. Milwaukee taking on the Chicago White Sox. Now, White Sox a -130 favorite, over under set 8.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, leaning with the White Sox here, 4.54, 3.96, the over under 8.5. Looking at the starting pitchers today for Milwaukee, Josh Lindblom is getting the nod here for the Brew Crew, and he's going up against Gio Gonzalez for the White Sox, who are coming off a 1-0 win yesterday against the same Brewers. Dallas Keuchel got a good quality start out of him yesterday. 4-5 for the Brew Crew. Very disappointed. Like you said yesterday, Ellis not hitting, and looking for the Chicago White Sox. 7-5 on the year. 36% chance of this game going under the total, but the Cal Ross favors Milwaukee at 61%.
Yeah, this is a Milwaukee team also played 7 of their first 9 games on the road, and today will make 8 of 10. And they've held their own on the road, 4-3. They lost their only 2 home games. Chicago, the White Sox, I should say, 6-2 on the road, but just 1-3 at U.S. Cellular Field, or whatever it's called now, in Chicago. And here's an interesting note, Ron. Since last year, when Chicago White Sox are revenging a loss in which they were shut out, and the last time they played that opponent, they are 6-0, a perfect 6-0. So,
oh wow, yeah, that's a good stat right there.
I'm not a big revenge guy, but when you get to revenge and shutout loss, and especially playing them the next day, that's something to consider. One of your indicators. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do like that. I like that stat because law of average guy, and the price is right, 130, right?
Yeah, and Milwaukee's not hitting. So you could say, well, how could you take a team off a shutout loss or not? Well, Milwaukee's not hitting either. They won that game 1-0 yesterday. So
yeah. I don't think anybody's hitting.
By the unders that you showed us at the beginning of the show, that seems pretty obvious.
Yeah. So there you have it, guys. That's the MLB forecast podcast today for Thursday, August 6th. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show on the MLB forecast. You can get Russ, if people want to get in touch with you and get your picks for today's game, where can they do that?
Well, my website's rbwins.com, okay? But Ron, I'm on Ron's site as well, folks, atsstats.com. I don't have a 20% discount. He does. So if you want to purchase my picks and save some money, you're not going to break my heart by going to Ron's site to purchase it there, okay? So you can get them there. Just a reminder, 16-7 over the last 8 days with my paid selections. That's around 68%. You can call me direct to 781-571-0299, 781-571-0299. I accept all major credit cards. I could tailor a package specifically set for you and your needs. And again, I hire no salespeople, Ron. It's just me and me only. It's a lonely office.
Yeah, and like I always say, right? And he locks up and he vacuums on the way out. Yeah. And folks, if you're interested in my packages, each day I have about 3 selections. I believe in money management, and I think once you get over 3, you're kind of pushing it a bit unless you really love that 4th pick. But I'll always have between 2 and 3 selections each day, and you can get my plays each and every day right here at atsstats.com. For Ross Benjamin, I'm Ron Raymond. This was the Raymond Report for Thursday, August 6th. Hope you guys have yourself a great day. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report.